is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of The Legislative Director. Talking about legislative things. Here she is.
Oh.
This is take two. She's a little angry. A little angry at me.
Take two.
Legislative Director Amber Marr. And the guy who forgot to press record last time and got almost all the way through the show. Not the Legislative Director, Jason Topsy. Amber.
I don't even know what to say right now. I've said it all already.
My bad.
It just wasn't recorded while I was saying it.
We are going to go over this again. For those of you that are just joining us, because you weren't in the room when I didn't record last time, when we thought we were recording. I told Dan, I'm like, you know what, I got this. And you know what I didn't do? Hit record.
So you know what I did? I immediately texted producer Dan. And I go, guess what? And told him the whole story.
So my bad.
So we actually did need Dan.
We did need Dan. Always need Dan. My apologies. Producer Dan, come back. Come back. Don't ever leave again. Amber.
I would second that.
Amber, this is take two. Let's just get into it. For those of you that are listening, you're going to miss out on some fun visuals. For those of you that are watching, you're going to get to see some fun stuff. At least I think it's fun. For those of you that are listening, once again, when you're done listening to this, go watch it. You know, let's double the fun. We're doing 2 takes of this. You can watch it twice. It's the least you can do for us, right? Anyway, you heard us talk about the legislative team a bunch on this show. They're a group of 17 volunteers from across the state, up in the region, Evansville. For those of you that don't know what the region is, right into the show, I'll explain it to you. It's Northwest Indiana, Fort Wayne, Central Indiana. Those folks, all people coming from all around. We wanted to give you a little bit of like a day in the life of a legislative team member for AARP Indiana. The day is usually on a Monday. Mm-hmm. They come in Monday morning. They come into our office down here in downtown Indianapolis. They mill around, drink some coffee. We sit down, and then we start going over all the bills that we're working on and things of that nature. We usually have a guest come in for whatever bill they're going to work on when they go over to the State House. She's amazed right now because I've really tightened this up. Take two is really tightened up this whole conversation.
I think this take two is also making me realize that we remembered all of our guests on take one, and now I really don't think I can remember everybody we've had. We've
had several guests on the not on the show, but to come in for the legislative team. We've had people like Health Commissioner Dr. Box, former State Senator Luke Kenley, because they were part of the governor's Public Health Commission. I got that right too the second time. See, I'm getting it all right the second time. This is better.
You all are not able to see what he forgot last time.
Which was everything.
I don't even have to remind you.
It was everything.
It wasn't everything.
We had State Senator Kreider on to talk about SB 1, which we will also be talking about later in this show. We were also joined by Steve McCaffrey, who is from Mental Health America of Indiana. Got that right as well. We have had Caitlin Krause from CAPNY, which is the Coalition of Advanced Practice Nurses of Indiana. Registered nurses of Indiana. But so she came on to talk about our APRN bills on a previous legislative team meeting. We've had State Senator Andrea Hunley on to talk about Vision Zero and her bill, which was the Vision Zero Task Force, which was like 230. I knew there was 2 numbers that was after the 2. So we've had a lot of people come in, talk to the legislative team.
You're still forgetting somebody.
This week we had.
You're still forgetting somebody. I'm going to let you think on this because
our friends from Prosperity, Indiana came by. This is one of our first guests, actually. My apologies because it was so early in session. To talk about housing bills and the Hoosier Housing Needs Task Force, Coalition. Hoosier Housing Needs Coalition.
Hoosier Housing Needs Coalition.
Okay.
Also, I think we're going to do take one all the time, because by take two,
I really got it down. I really got it down.
You actually don't even need me.
That's not true.
Okay.
This is your show. I'm just making a mess of it. We also had this week's guest, friend of the show, was on our live show, Representative Ed Clear, to talk about House Bill 1155, which is the unlicensed real estate solicitor bill.
He said House Bill 1157 on the first time.
They're not going to see that, but now they know it.
If I had to do a whole preview that was actually a preview and I didn't know it, then I'm going to remind folks what you said on the last one.
Fair enough. Look, that's fair. Like I said, fair enough.
All right, I'm just the peanut gallery over here.
You can just see. You probably can't see because you're not as close as I am, but there's a flicker of rage in her eyes about having to do this all over again.
It's because your complete face when you realized you were recording,
I was going to cry.
And that you had to tell me, it was even better.
So she had rage, I had fear, but we're moving forward.
All right, I'll stop talking about it.
Back to the legislative team. Representative Clear came by to talk with the legislative team because that was the bill they were working on. So generally, as I said, here in the morning, we chat, we go over bills, we bring in our guest to talk about whatever it is, the bill that we're focusing in that day. We have some lunch. They get their assignments about what legislators are going to talk to. They get these fun little leave behinds for the legislators, and that they hand them about whatever bills they're working on. We go over to the State House. They meet with legislators. They talk to them about the bills. Sometimes it's a lot of waiting around. But then we come back to the office. Representative Clear joined us again to debrief, to go over about what were the legislators saying, good things, bad things, talk about that, next steps, and then they break and they get to go home. It is a long day.
It's a long day.
It is a fantastic group of individuals. They work extremely hard. They like what they love what they love doing this.
They get along so amazingly.
It is a strong team.
Yeah.
It is a strong team. And it's just fun to see. Hopefully, as you're watching this, you're seeing some of those interactions when they're at the State House, when they're together. It's just a good group. Amber, it's safe to say that it would be difficult for you to do your job without them.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Stole your thunder.
I was going to say, I tell them constantly that I couldn't do what I do without them. And we would not have as much of a presence over there that we do if they did not come with us every other Monday. And I do have to say, so yesterday, Representative Clear offered to take a few folks back onto the actual House floor. And we were already over waiting for the senator. So some people had already put in their notes. Some people had already met with some of the senators that they were meeting with. And so it just so happened that Linda Dunno and Jennifer Jones were finished with talking to their senators, and they got to go in with Representative Clear and sit on the House floor.
Very cool.
So hopefully we'll have that opportunity more in the future, and we can get everybody to have that experience. It's just that we didn't want to pull folks away if senators were coming out when they were gone. But
yeah, you've seen some footage from our coffee cart, and so that's not necessarily what would be a typical legislative team day. So we wanted to show you just a little bit of what it is, and because you've also seen interviews with some of them as well. But just a typical legislative team meeting, what is it like? And that's what we wanted to take, a good 10 minutes of the show at the beginning to talk about it, and then we can get into regularly scheduled programming.
Well, and I should say our volunteer legislative team doesn't just talk to senators or representatives. I mean, legislators in general. They do not just talk to legislators. They also were mingling with all of my other colleagues that are lobbying for their own organizations.
Yeah.
So I did want to just kind of give a shout out to Mike O'Brien.
Oh, look at that. Shout out. Yeah, it was, they're like old pros out there.
It up.
Old pros out there.
Yep. Just having a blast.
So great group. Oh, there it is. I said the word.
Oh.
It's market shows I didn't say the word great. Move it to 0. We're going to get one of those up on the board.
Okay.
Lovely day, lovely group of people, legislative team. We love you. We appreciate you. And we wanted to show some more of you on this show. Now, Amber, let's talk a little bit of legislation.
Oh, I wasn't quite ready.
You weren't ready for that?
I just wanted to let it soak in. I don't know. It was just such a wonderful day yesterday.
And since session is kind of wrapping up, this was going to be one of the last times that they were going to be here in person.
Yeah.
Before session is out, it was like it was an even important meeting this last time around, I guess.
Well, and I think the reason why we do that towards the end of session is just because we get absolutely crazy with conference committees, and it's real hard to know when the legislators are going to be in session and when we can pull them out or not pull them out, or where, everybody's everywhere. So while the communication will not stall, excuse me, we will still have things to be dealing with at the end.
Yep.
They just maybe won't be here in person. So.
All right. Let's talk a couple of pieces of legislation.
Okay.
A lot of them are familiar already. You've heard us talk about it, I believe. Senate. So, what's the first one you want to talk about?
Moving on to, I really am just afraid that we're forgetting something about yesterday to say, but I don't know.
I think we got it. I don't know. Maybe
a little.
That's what happens when you don't hit record the first time.
Okay, I didn't say it.
I said it.
Oh, righty. Senate Bill 1. We're going to move to today, which is Tuesday. We're recording very early.
Very early in the week for us.
Oh, did you say why we weren't recording on this episode?
Oh, yeah. I self-reported in the non-recording, but I will say I'm taking a vacation day in the middle of the week during session.
Keywords, during session.
So
all right, but we're so happy for you
between
you're taking a day off.
Between that day and traveling up to Gary for something else the next day, had to bump up the recording schedule. I appreciate you being a team player on this.
Seems like it's been going great.
It went the second time around has been fantastic.
I think it's been worse.
Okay.
Oh, so let's go back. Today is Tuesday. And some things that happened today that were very important that we wanted to share is the issue that we were working on yesterday. Although we are working on the funding portion of it, Senate Bill 1 was heard for an amendment vote in House Public Health today. It was amended with some of the language, and we can get into it a little bit, but I will say it's going to change. I say they because the members of the Public Health Committee, this amendment sort of tried to clear up some confusion around what the core public health services actually entailed. I think a lot of folks thought it was too vague. What does that mean? What does it look like? They tried to actually list it out. I think there were some other things around some vision screening stuff that there was a lot of consternation around, which we didn't really have any. We were just kind of neutral in that aspect of it. Anyway, there was a lot of things that happened, including allowing the local public health departments to, what is the word that they use in here? Not partner. Maybe it's partner.
No, is it like contract with or enter into agreement with?
Yeah, something along those lines. I'm sorry. And I had it pulled up and now it's gone. But to enter into a collaboration or a partnership, it's like a grant program with providers in the community. Oh, you're right. Contract with or establish a grant. Thank you. For purposes of providing these core public health services. So it just kind of specifies that the local health department doesn't have to do it all or doesn't just have to use the money and funds themselves. They can partner, contract, use grants with other providers in the community to essentially build out these core public health services.
This is SB4 we're talking about?
Oh.
No, that's fine. I switched to that.
I said
editorial correction. I put it back up there.
I
just wanted to make sure. I had it wrong. It's my fault.
I'd say we need to start over, but
we've already done that once before. We'll just keep it rolling. People know what we're talking about now.
Senate Bill 4.
Yes.
All right.
Got it.
Senate Bill 4 was heard for an amendment vote in the House Public Health Committee, which is what I was just talking about, the amendment that was put into the bill. And it did pass 11-1.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're going to need to kind of process some other things that are in this amendment and see where we're at as far as what we're going to say, how we feel about it, what does this look like, on a local level, all of those things.
Okay.
So, I mean, stay tuned. I think we're just going to keep working this bill and figure out what more is going to change, because it will.
It will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before session's over. Okay.
Yeah. So Senate Bill 4, 11-1 out of committee. It will now move to second reading.
Okay.
Okay.
And then what we were thinking we were talking about, or what we first said.
Well, I just said the wrong thing.
That's fine.
Senate Bill 1, which is what we actually worked on.
Yes.
I cannot believe I messed that all up.
That's okay.
Okay. Senate
Hey,
Bill.
I didn't hit record. I mean, I did this time. This time I did.
Okay. I almost.
It's recording.
Oof. All right. You're lucky.
I am very lucky.
I think that's an understatement. Senate
Bill 1. Senate Bill 1.
We worked yesterday with the legislative team for the funding of Senate Bill 1. So we were working the Appropriations Committee on the Senate side. But Senate Bill 1 was actually heard today in House Public Health as well. And we had our folks testify.
Mm-hmm.
And, we are in a big coalition of a lot of individuals and partners that are in support of this particular bill. So a lot of testimony was given, a lot of support, and it passed out of committee 12-0.
Okay.
And has been recommitted to the House Ways and Means Committee. So hopefully we can get that a hearing before that committee deadline next week. Now, I'll be interested to hear, excuse me, my allergies are coming on. I will be interested to hear kind of what that conversation is, because currently Senate Bill 1 does not have any funding attached to it.
Okay.
We are trying to get the funding in the budget. So we'll see.
Okay. So,
and yes, were you showing these while I was talking?
I mean, I think I held them up kind of a little bit.
These were the leave behinds that our volunteer legislative team gave to legislators on the Senate side. So about Senate Bill 1 and House Bill 1155, which we talked about, and 1155 still has not been scheduled for a hearing.
Okay.
Which is what we were asking for yesterday.
Well, it was good day, good work, bills moving, deadlines approaching. Legislative team was here, all sorts of stuff still going on. I appreciate your patience with me in working this whole thing and recording.
I do have one other thing.
Well, what's one other thing?
Senate Bill 160 was also heard in House Public Health today.
Okay.
It is the that's going to be really annoying for listeners and viewers. Okay. Senate Bill 160 is the Professional Counselors Licensure Compact.
Okay.
Again, we support compacts. We've supported, as we've mentioned in the past, the nurse compact.
Licensure compact, yeah.
Yes, the nurse licensure compact, the medical licensure compact for physicians, occupational therapy licensure compact that is moving through the legislature as well, which I believe we talked about either last episode or a couple ones back. And this, for the same reason, is that it does help access to care. So we testified on Senate Bill 160, and it passed. It passed 11-0.
Okay, good.
Going to the House floor.
Good.
So thank you.
All right. So even though we recorded early due to scheduling later in the week, there's still a lot that was going on.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot to talk about. The take two, still great. It's still great.
We'll see.
Once again, move saying the word great to 0. This is fine. It's fun.
Fun?
Fine. Both. Fine and
fine
fun.
And fun.
It's fine and fun. Okay.
I think we know.
Yeah, we're done here.
Make it a symbol. Sign.
I appreciate you, Amber, for going through this whole process twice. I appreciate our legislative team. Appreciate everybody that's watching and stuck with us through this and listening. You guys are all fantastic individuals. And with that, we will see you next time on the Legislative Director talking about legislative things. We will see you then.